So one of the most unique features on the DJ-808 is having a built-in drum machine and sequencer that you can sync to your Serato decks. Let's talk a little bit about the TRS and the sequencer and the sampler. So you have 4 classic Roland drum machines built in here using analog circuit behavior. It's playing this back. These aren't samples, they're actually being generated by the machine here. So we have the 606, the 707, the 808, the 909. To select those different drum kits, you hold Shift and press the corresponding button. So right now I've selected the 909. In each kit you also have the ability to play the bass drum, the snare drum, the closed hat, or the open hat. Each one of these sounds has a corresponding slider here, so you can adjust the volume there, and you can also adjust the master volume on this middle slider that says TR Sampler. You also have the ability to mix and match these sounds. So say you like the kick from the TR 909, but you want the snare from the 606. I would hold the SD button there and turn the knob until I get to the 606 snare, and there you have it. Just another side note, if you like hand claps, you can also choose hand claps by holding the snare drum button and turning that value, and you've got 3 different hand claps you can replace the snare with, which is pretty cool. So every one of those drum sounds you can edit. You have the option to change the trim or the volume. You can change the attack. You can change the tuning and the decay. You can play any of those sounds freehand by coming over to the TR mode in the performance pad section. So you just select TR and you have your bass drum, your snare drum, your closed hat, your open hat that you can play freehand at any given time. You also have, at the bottom here, the ability to play back rolls or patterns. And this is quite cool. All you need to do is hold a button, hold a pad, and it's pressure sensitive, so depending on how hard I press it, it's going to play back slower or faster. Using the parameter buttons here on the left and right, I can choose different patterns. So if I want to do a straight roll, I'll go all the way to the left with the parameter minus. I can slide one over by hitting parameter plus. And you have a bunch of different patterns in there. Quite useful if you just want to throw a little spice on top of your track. Just hit that. As long as it's all synced up, it's going to be in time for you. Now let's talk a little bit about the sequencer. We have a 16-step sequencer that allows you to program 16 different patterns. Programming a pattern is relatively straightforward. So if we hit pattern, we can see now that we have selected pattern 5 to play. Let's hit play. Now if I want to play the next pattern, I'd select the next one there by hitting the button. If I want to play 2 together, I'd press both. If I want to play 4 together, it will play through one at a time. And if I go to pattern mode down here, I can mix and match those. I have a little bit more flexibility, so I could say play pattern 1 and 4. They're going to rotate back and forth. Now if I want to add any notes, I would just simply press whatever sound I wanted to add. We can see that we have a 4 to the floor kick on this pattern. Very simple. If I want to add some, I can just throw some extras in there. Very easy. I want to bring some snares in. Very straightforward step sequencing method. Now I can also, if I want, use the instant record mode, which I would access by holding Shift and TR record. And this is really good for people that are more used to playing freehand, like on an MPC or whatnot. So I would go to my TR mode, I'd hit start. And instant record is now blinking. I can see the TR record button blinking. So let me clear that real quick so you can see what I did. I'm going to clear the hi-hat, bring the rest up, and I'm going to play it in live. That quickly just lays it in, quantizes it nicely for me. Now a couple other quick features to mention. You have the ability to shuffle those patterns. So hold the shuffle button here, Pressing that and then turning it will apply a shuffle to the TR. So let's have a quick listen. No shuffle, lots of shuffle. Now you can also use the scale button to change the rhythmic orientation. So if you want to program something in 30-second notes, if say you want to make a trap song with really fast hi-hats, you could change the scale, pressing it once and turning it say to 32 to the value, and that'll allow you to program smaller rhythmic quantities for some of those say quick hi-hat rolls or whatnot. Finally, you have the ability to sequence your Serato sampler. You can play that off instant record mode like we showed you before using the sampler play, or you can do it with a step sequencer. Let's have a quick look at the new Serato Sampler. It includes 8 sample slots now, increased from 6 on previous versions. You got 4 banks here. Loading is very simple. You just drag and drop onto that slot and that will load it up. In my case, I've got a lot of extra drums in there that I want to add to all my TR sounds. You can also choose which output you want to send it to. Now, by default, it's on auxiliary, which means it's going to come out the same slider, the same fader as the TR unit. Personally, I like to put it on channel 4 so I have some independent control over it. Also, just make sure that your volume's up. I think by default, the Serato volume on the sampler is down, and I've had a lot of people ask me, why can't I hear it? Very simple, just make sure that volume's all the way up. So it works in exactly the same way as the TR unit. You can pick any one of these banks here, bank A, B, C, D, and all the Serato sampler slots live here. So 1 through 8. So on my first slot, I have a kick, snare drum, etc., etc. And let's just have a quick listen. So this is something I sequenced before. And then we'll bring in the TR, put it together. So you can hear my drums coming off the sampler, and there my drums coming off the TR. Very easy to mix and match and create custom kits, add effects, add your own stems from your own tracks, etc., etc. A lot of possibilities there. So get to it, have some fun.